Good day everyone, especially to you ma'am. I am Cadet Casinio Maverick, B Scream 1R, CLG2 Human Rights Educations. So I will discuss the right to speedy disposition of cases, Module 14. So let's start. The right to a speedy disposition of cases is a fundamental aspect of ensuring justice within a legal system. It addresses the age-old adage that justice delayed is justice denied. Recognizing that prolonged delays in resolving cases undermine public trust and can lead to vigilant justice. So meaning uh, dili tanan case nga delay is justice denied na. Napoy mga other circumstances nga cases, for example like kanang civil case involving property ownership between two parties. Ang case is kanang conflict kay daghan issues nga need i-address sa court like property records, contracts, and testimony of witness. So mao ni sa isa sa makadelayed sa case sa court, and dili pasabot nga delayed ang case means justice denied na. And next is the Supreme Court and the lower courts. So, under the current constitutions, both the Supreme Court and lower courts are mandated to decide cases within specific time frames. This impositions of absolute time limits ensures that litigants do not have to endure indefinite waiting periods for case resolution. So, ah, for example, a contractual dispute between a tenant and a landlord regarding the rental payments. So ang scenario is si tenant nag-ingon siya nga nahumanan niya tanan or nabayaran niya tanan ang iyang mga obligasyon sa pag-rent sa balay or boarding house butang nato. Dayon based sa agreement nila ni landlord pod, nag-ingon pod si landlord nga wala pa man ka nakabayad sa rent. So both parties need nga mag-represent sila sa ilang mga evidence and arguments during the trial proceeding in specific time frame nga gihatag sa court para magpresenta sila sa ilang mga sig-iya nga mga ebidensya. And at the end, magkahusay sila ug mag-okay ang tanan para mauman. Dayon, the next reporter is
My name is Roy A. Dilig, and I have to report the Section 17. Section 17. No person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. So, ang Section 17 daw is walang taong mapipilitang maging saksi laban sa kanyang sarili. Right against self-incrimination. So, the right against self-incrimination is karapatan laban sa pagsasama sa sarili. Ang self-incrimination ay isang sinadya o hindi sinasadyang pagkilos ng pagbibigay ng impormasyon na nagmumungkahi ng iyong pagkakasangkot sa isang krimen o maglalantad sa iyo sa kriminal na pag-uusig. No person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. Section 17. This is a protection against self-incrimination which may expose a person to criminal liability. So, sa to ani is walang taong dapat pilitin na maging saksi laban sa kanyang sarili. Ito ay isang proteksyon laban sa pagsasama-sama sa sarili na maaring maglantad sa isang tao sa kriminal na pananagutan. It is founded on grounds of number 1, public policy, because if the party is does not require to testify, he would be placed under the strongest temptation to commit a crime of perjury. So, ang pasabot daw ani is Ang pampublikong patakaran daw dahil kung ang partido ay kinakailangan na tumistigo siya ay malalagay sa ilalim ng pinakamalakas na tukso na gawin ang krimen ng pagsisinungaling. Perjury means pagsisinungaling. Number 2, humanity, because it prevents the extortion of confession by juries. The Constitution guarantee protects us well the right of the accused to silence, as his silence, meaning his failure or refusal to testify, may not be used as a presumption of guilt or taken as evidence against him. So, ang pasabutuan ni isang pinipigilan nito ang pangingikil ng pag-amin sa pamamagitan ng pamimilit. So, ang pamimilito is by juries. Then, pinoprotektahan din ng garantiya ng konstitusyon ang karapatan ng akusado sa pananahimik dahil ang kanyang pananahimik ibig sabihin ang kanyang pagkabigo o pagtanggi na tumistigo ay hindi maaaring gamitin bilang pagpapalagay ng pagkakasala o kunin bilang ebidensya laban sa kanya. Scope of guarantee. The right against self-incrimination applies in criminal cases as well as in civil, administrative, and legislative proceeding. Where the fact asks for is a criminal one, it protects one whether he is a party or a witness. So, ang karapatan daw ng laban sa self-incrimination ay nalalapat sa mga kasong criminal cases as in civil administrative at pampabatasan na paglilitis kung saan ang katotohanang hiniling ay isang kriminal. So, pinuprotektahan din nito ang isa sa maging partido, man siya o saksi.
Good day, ma'am. Good day, mates. I'm Galit Saklapus in Princeton, and I want to report the nature of quarantine. So, number one, the right is purely personal and may be weak. It was never intended to permit a person to plead that the fact that some third person might be incriminated by his testimony, even though he were the agent of the person. So, it means that the right to protect oneself from incrimination is personal and can be voluntary given up, and it cannot be used to avoid incriminating someone else, even if the person is represented by his or by the testifier. For example, Sarah cannot refuse to testify about her own action in crime just because her friend John may also be implicated. So, let's proceed. Number two. Number two is, it may not be invoked to protect a person against being compelled to testify to facts that which may impose him only to public ridicule or tend to disgrace him. So, this statement explains that the right against self-incrimination cannot be used to just to avoid embarrassment or public shame. For example, Prince cannot refuse to testify about non-criminal mistake he made at work, just because it might make him look bad in front of his colleagues or workmates. So, number three, it may not be invoked simply because the testimony might subject one to some liability not arising from any criminal actions. So, this statement clarifies that the right to self-incrimination cannot be used just because the testimony might be lead to civil liability, not criminal charges. Which means, example, Anna cannot avoid testifying in a civil suit, a lawsuit, just because her testimony may lead to financial liability. So, therefore, it is applicable only to present not a past criminality which involves no present danger of persecution. Hence, a witness cannot refuse to testify as the crime has already prescribed. Example, the crime is no longer subject to persecution due to the lapse of a certain period of time. So, in this matter, or in this statement, emphasizes that the right against self-incrimination only applies to current situation or current criminal actions, or not past crimes where the statute of limitations has expired and no longer allowed to persecution. So I speaking about the statute limitations. What is this? So sa Tagalog, it means batas na batas na may mga hangganan. So limitation gani. So it said here, the authorities later identified those responsible for the crime, but persecution was impossible since the statute of limitations on the crime had expired. So, connected in the Philippines, statute of limitations is governed by Act Number 3326 as amended of the Civil Code for criminal fraud. Or under the revised penal code, the prescribed period is generally up to 15 years. So, and also there's a exempted about the statute of the limitation, which is terrorism related offenses that result in death and serious injury and designated federal child abduction or sex offenses mo na mga some examples sa mga exempted about the statute of limitations. So for example, Mike cannot refuse to testify about a fraud that happened in 30 years ago. Cannot be longer be persecuted by due to the time of set by the law. So, number 5. It can be availed of only against testimonial compulsion. So this statement highlights that the defense against self-incrimination can only be used when someone is forced to give testimony. So, for example, if Anna is being pressured to provide the false information in the court, she cannot rely to the right against self-incrimination to protect herself or herself. So, that's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Form of testimony prohibited. The constitutional guarantee that no one person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself is limited to prohibition against compulsory testimonial self-incrimination, instructing from defendant's own lips against his and admission of his guilt. Ang meaning is guys is wala ng tao nga mag-witness against siyang kaugalingon para ma-defend niya dili siya nagbuhat ani or dili siya ang nag-commit aning crime or unsa pa na din na. Tapos it extends to the production by the accused of the documents, chattels or the objects demanded from him, or then he is compelled to make a statement express or implied as to the identity of the articles produced. The refusal of a person to produce a specimen of his handwriting is also a mechanical act. It requires the application of intelligence and attention and is equivalent to testimonial compulsion. Bisan pang mag-con siya mga documents or mga file or mga handwritten pa na din nga ipakita niya para ma-defend niyang kuan, dili gyud siya dili siya gadawaton sa court or sa kwan kay wala man siya ikuan at dili siya valid. That's all, thank you.
Good day, ma'am. Good day, classmates. My name is Christian J.B. Amian, and I'm going to report my topic. And this topic is continuation to my group mates. So, let's proceed to. However, there is no violation where first is the accused is forced to discharge morphine from his mouth. So, forcing someone to discharge morphine from their mouth if the police think someone swallowed illegal drugs. So, forcing someone daw ni siya, like, ang police officer is gina-force niya ang usa ka tao nga na ay posible nga gagamit og illegal drugs. They might make them spit them out to find evidence. So, gamiton nila ang silbi, ipaluwa nila ang tao o ang suspect nga gagamit og illegal drugs para makakita og evidence. So next is number 2. The accused is compelled to place his foot on a piece of paper to secure his footprint. So kani siya, kung moingon tag footprint, mura na gyapon ni siya og sa among topic sa forensic 3, forensic 4 kay pare-pareha rin siya sa mulage, like magkuha og footprints. So, making someone step on a piece of paper to get their footprint dahil ano siya kay sa paper. Then sometimes in investigation like theft or assault, the police need to compare footprints found at a crime scene with the suspect's footprint. So, ang police ang police investigator kay mangita sila og mga footprints, some evidence para ilang i-compare kung mao ba ang suspect para ma-identify nila. So, next is number 3. The accused is compelled to be photographed or to remove his garments and his shoes. Unsa man ning garments? Muna siya mga kagamitan, mga sinina, ana. So, taking photos or asking someone to undress during an investigation, this happens often after someone is arrested just to identify or collect evidence. So, kani siya is kinahanglan ni siya nga maagian pod sa usa ka suspect para mag-collect pod siya og some evidence like photograph, i-remove ang mga sinina, then ilang picturean. Kani ang buot pasabot ani is a woman accused of adultery is compelled to permit her body to be examined. So, dapat daw i-examine iyang lawas kay para investigahan to physician to determine if she is pregnant. So, next is number 5. The voluntary confession given by the preliminary investigation of the accused is admitted at the trial. So, using a confession made during an early investigation in a trial, if someone admits to a crime before the trial starts, the admission can be used as evidence in court later on. Then let's proceed to Section 18, number 1. No person shall be detained solely by reason of his political beliefs and aspirations. So, what is solely? Solely is the word solely is without. It means without any others being included or involved. So, no person shall be detained solely by reason of his political beliefs and aspirations. So, kung ang tao day kay na mga political beliefs, kay wala na siya kaso, wala na siya mga no person shall be detained. So, next is number 2. No involuntary servitude in any form shall exist except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been du- duly convicted. So, involuntary servitude, forced labor, and involuntary servitude are conditions of servitude induced by a shame that causes persons to believe that if they do not adhere to it, they will suffer serious harm. In addition, exploitative child labor can be considered slavery. So that's all, ma'am. That's all, classmates. Thank you.